In what one Florida sheriff called the worst case he ever seen, a couple is accused of letting their comatose 3-year-old boy rot in his bed after authorities discovered his lifeless, ulcerous body with gaping wounds, no rectum, and a hole within his intestines, spinal column, and colon visible. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me for another crime news story. Tamika Williams, who's 24 years old, and Efrem Allen Jr., who's 25, was booked into jail on charges of neglect, child abuse causing great harm, resulting in the death of a 3-year-old toddler, officials said. The charges was upgraded on Friday to aggravated manslaughter of a child. The child, who is not identified, was found on May the 12th with no pulse and connected to a ventilator when Balto Fire Rescue responded to a 911 call from the mother saying that the child's pulsometer was not working correctly. He had been under the home care after a near drowning accident in the summer of 2020 at a vacation home in Davenport, Florida.
They didn't want DCF to take their children, so they didn't call. But they had tried to get more home health care. So we introduced ourselves to the potential health care providers, and they said, we accepted them. We went there and wanted to see the child. They said, don't wake the child up today. This is just an introduction. And the next time they went, nobody answered the door. So obviously they were trying to create a facade or to say, well, we asked for help. They let this baby rot and die in its bed. How horrible the wounds, the ulcers that this child endured at the hands of these folks.
They let this baby rot and die in his bed, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said in a news conference following the arrest. I have done this for 5 decades. I have seen thousands of children abused, hundreds of children murdered at the hands of parents. I have never seen the horror that we saw with this poor child at the hands of these 2 folks. Judd said it all began in July 2020 when this beautiful baby boy was only 10 months old. He went off into the pool and nearly drowned at a short-term rental home. Despite life-saving efforts then, the child had no brain activity when he got to the hospital and could not even blink, the sheriff said. Doctors recommended to the parents that he be removed from life-saving measures because the child would forever be in a coma with no brain activity. The parents didn't want to do that and was sent home with their infant on a ventilator with a stomach tube and home health 3 times a week over the last 2 years. The parents began to reject assistance for the boy in October, which was the last time home health had dealt with the child. When home health care workers knocked, they would not be home or would not answer the door, Judd had said. DCF told authorities that when they went to the apartment to see the child, the parents said, don't wake the child up today. The judge said that the mother was receiving benefits to stay home and care for the baby, but suggested that the suspect got tired of his intensive care. A grim discovery was made the morning of May the 12th when Williams and Allen noticed that he was cold to touch. His stomach was bloated and his pulse monitor was malfunctioned. Williams waited until 3 p.m. to call 911, saying this is not an emergency. You do not need red lights and sirens, but we'll light fire to come over and check the baby. When paramedics arrived, they saw the child hooked up to a working ventilator, but there appeared to be no life in the child, Judge said. The child was rotting in the bed. The baby was rushed to the hospital where he died. When medical personnel removed his diapers and clothes, they noticed ulcers and large gaping wounds throughout the body, down to the muscle. The child smelled of decomposing. They noticed there was no rectum. There was just a big gaping hole where the intestines and spinal column was visible. The ER doctor said that the child had not had appropriate care for months. The medical examiner said that the child had sepsis, bilateral pneumonia, and stage 5 ulcers. Authorities said that Williams and Allen had noticed that the boy had large open sores, but feared that contacting anybody because they feared that the Family Department of Children and Family would take their other 2 young children away. Those children, 2 years old and 10 months old, appear healthy and was removed from their care. They stated that people would assume it was neglect, authorities said in the news release. However, they stated that the victim was not neglected. Williams and Allen are being held in the Polk County Jail on $100,000 bond each. Why would a judge set bond for these two? They deserve to rot in prison like they did their child. They let that baby suffer and rot to collect a check and some benefits. But they had to cover themselves because the healthcare workers and the Department of Family and Children Services was on that behind. There are no excuses. Healthcare services was provided to them free of charge. You have to be one sick SOB to walk by that room daily to see that child you made and brought into this world and claim you love just to rot there and suffer. How about the smell? What you was doing? Spraying Febreze or putting some Fabuloso on the stove and balling it so you won't smell that child rotting in that bedroom? And how about the relatives? Your aunts, your uncle, your grandparents. So no relatives came by to check on that baby or ask about him. Come on now. They claimed that they were scared to call someone when they noticed the sores. Well, if you allow the healthcare workers to come in and do their damn jobs, and you as a parent do your job, he wouldn't be in that type of position. He wouldn't have those type of wounds on him. If you didn't want to take care of him, then you should have put him in a nursing home or some way that they could take care of that child so he can get the care that he needed. I hope these two heartless, worthless animals go away for a very long time, and I hope they never gain custody of the other 2 children. I mean, just throw away the key. My prayers go to that little boy. He's in a much better place right now, surrounded by love, and he never have to suffer again. All right, guys, I want to hear your thoughts on this story. So let's continue the conversation in the comment section. And as always, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And thanks for watching.